Act 3. Scene as before. Later in the day. Jimmy comes in slightly drunk. Jimmy calls. Pegeen! Crosses to inner door. Pegeen, Mike! Comes back into the room. Pegeen! Philly comes in on the same state. To Philly. Did you see yourself? Philly. I did not, but I sent Sean Keogh with the ass cart for to bear him home. Trying cupboards which are locked. Well, isn't he a nasty man to get in such staggers at morning wake? And isn't it herself the devil's daughter for locking? And she's so fusty after that young gaffer you might take your death with draught and none to heed you. It's little wonder she'd be fussy. And he have to bring in bankrupt ruin on the roulette man, and the trick of the loop man, and breaking the nose of the cockshot man, and winning all that sports below, racing, lepping, dancing, and the Lord knows what. He's right luck, I'm telling you. If he has, he'll be rightly hobbled yet. And he not able to say 10 words without making a brag of the way he killed his father, and the great blow he hit with the loy. A man can't hang by his own informing, and his father should be rotten by now. Old Mahone passes window slowly. Supposing a man's digging spuds in that field with a long spade, and supposing he flings up the two halves of that skull, what'll be said then in the papers in the courts of law? They'd say it was an old Dane maybe was drowned in the flood. Old Mahone comes in and sits near the door listening. Did you never hear tell of the skulls they have in the city of Dublin, ranged out like blue jubs in a cabin of Connaught? And you believe that? Jimmy, pugnaciously. Didn't the lad see them and he after coming from harvesting in the Liverpool boat? They have them there, says he, making a show of the great peoples there was one time walking the world. White skulls and black skulls and yellow skulls, and some with full teeth and some haven't only but one. It was no lie, maybe, but when I was a young lad there was a graveyard beyond the house with the remnants of a man who had thighs as long as your arms. He was a horrid man, I'm telling you. And there was a man a fine Sunday I put him together for fun, and he with shiny boots you wouldn't meet the like of these days in the cities of the world. Mahone, getting up. You wouldn't, is it? Lay your eyes on that skull, and tell me where and when there was another the like of it, is splintered only from the blow of a loy. Philly, glory be to God. And who hit you at all? Mahone, triumphantly. It was my own son hit me. Would you believe that? Jimmy. Well, there's wonders hidden in the hearts of man. Philly, suspiciously. And what way was it done? Mahone, wandering about the room. I'm after walking hundreds and long scores of mile, winning clean beds in the fill of my belly 4 times in the day, and I doing nothing but telling stories of that naked truth. He comes to them a little aggressively. Give me a supping, and I'll tell you now. Widow Quinn comes in and stands aghast behind him. He is facing Jimmy and Philly, who are on the left. Jimmy. Ask herself beyond. She's a stuff hidden in her shawl. Widow Quinn, coming to Mahone quickly. You hears it. You didn't go far at all. Mahone. I seen the coasting streamer passing, and I got a draught upon me and a cramped leg, so I said, the devil go along with him, and turned again. Looking under her shawl. And let he give me a supping, for I'm destroyed travelling since Tuesday was a week. Widow Quinn, getting a glass, in a cajoling tone. Sit down then by the fire, and take your ease for a space. You've a right to be destroyed indeed, with your walking and fighting and facing the sun. Giving him poteen from a stone jar she has brought in. There's a drink for you now, and may it be to your happiness and length of life. Mahone, taking glass greedily, and sitting down by the fire. God increase you. Widow Quinn, taking men to the right stealthily. Do you know what? That man's raving from his wound today, for I met him a while since telling a rambling tale of a tinker had him destroyed. Then he heard of Christie's deed, and he up and says it was his son who'd cracked his skull. Oh, isn't madness a fright? For he'll go on killing someone yet, and he thinking it's the man has struck him so. Jimmy, entirely convinced. It's a fright, surely. I knew a party was kicked in the head by a red mare, and he went killing horses a great while till he ate the insides of a clock and died after. Philly, with suspicion. Did he see Christie? Widow Quinn. He didn't. With a warning gesture. Let you not be putting him in the mind of him, or you'll be likely summoned if there's murder done. Looking round at Mahone. Whist! He's listening. Wait now till you hear me talking him easy and unravelling all. She goes to Mahone. And what way are you feeling, mister? Are you in contentment now? Mahone, slightly emotional from his drink. I'm poorly only. But it's a hard story the way I'm left today, when it was I did tend him from his hour of birth, and he had dunce never reached his second book, though he'd come from school many's the day with his legs lamed under him, and he blackened with his beating like a tinker's ass. It's a hard story, I'm saying, the way some do have their next to nighest to raising up a hand of murder on them, and some is lonesome getting their death with lamentation in the dead of night. Widow Quinn, not knowing what to say. To hear you talking so quietly. Who'd know you were the same fellow we seen past today? I'm the same, surely. The wrack and ruin of 70 years. And it's a terror to live that length, I tell you. And to have your sons going to the dogs against you, and you wore out scolding them and scalping them and God knows what. Philly to Jimmy. He's not raving. To Widow Quinn. Will you ask him what kind his son was? Widow Quinn to Mahone with a peculiar look. Was your son that hit you a lad of 1 year and a score maybe? A great hand at racing and lepping and licking the world? Didn't you hear me say he was a fool of men? Away from this out he'll know the orphans lots with old and young making game of him, and they swearing and raging and kicking at him like a mangy cur. A great outburst of cheering is heard outside, some way off. Mahone, putting his hands to his ears. What in the name of God do they want roaring below? Widow Quinn, with a shade of a smile. They're cheering a young lad, the champion Playboy of the Western world. More cheering. Mahone, going to window. It split my heart to hear him, and I with pulses in my brain pan for a week gone by. Is it racing they are? Jimmy, looking from door. It is then. They are mounting him from the mule race to be run upon the sands. That's the Playboy on the winkered mule. Mahone, puzzled. That lad, is it? If you said it was a fool he was, I'd have laid a mighty oath he was the likeness of my wandering son. Philly nods at Jimmy. Mahone, uneasily, putting his hand to his head. Faith, I'm thinking I'll go walking for a view of the race. Widow Quinn, stopping him sharply. You will not. You'd best take the road to Belmullet, and not be dilly-dallying in this place where there isn't a spot you could sleep. Philly, coming forward. Don't mind her. Mount there on the bench and you'll have a view of the whole. They're hurrying before the tide will rise, and it'll be near over if you went down the pathway through the crags below. Mahone mounts on bench, Widow Quinn beside him. That's a right view again, the edge of the sea. They're coming now from the point. He's leading. Who is he at all? Widow Quinn. He's the champion of the world, I tell you. And there isn't a ha'porth isn't falling lucky to his hands today. Philly, looking out, interested in the race. Look at that. They're pressing him now. He'll win it yet. Philly. Take your time, Jimmy Farrell. It's too soon to say. Widow Quinn, shouting. Watch him taking the gate. They're riding. Jimmy, cheering. More power to the young lad. Mahone. He's passing the third. Jimmy. He'll lick them yet. Widow Quinn. He'd lick them if he was running races with a score itself. Mahone. Look at the mule he has kicking up the stars. Widow Quinn. There was a lep. Catching hold of Mahone in her excitement. He's fallen. He's mounted again. Faith, he's passing them all. Jimmy. Look at him scalping her. Philly. And the mountain girls hooshing him on. It's the last run. The post declared for them now. Look at that narrow place. He'll be into the bogs. With a yell. Good rider, he's through it again. He's neck and neck. Good boy, Tim. Flames, but he's in. Great cheering, in which all join. Mahone, with hesitation. What's that? They're raising him up. They're coming this way. With a roar of rage and astonishment. It's Christy by the stars of God. I know his way of spitting and he astride the moon. He jumps down and takes a run for the door, but Widow Quinn catches him and pulls him back. Widow Quinn. Stay quiet, will you? That's not your son. To Jimmy. Stop him, or you'll get a month for the abboting of manslaughter and be fined as well. Jimmy. I'll hold him. Let me out. Let me out, the lot of you, till I have my vengeance on his head today. Widow Quinn, shaking him vehemently. That's not your son. That man is going to make a marriage with the daughter of this house. A place with fine trade, with a license, and with poteen too. Mahone, amazed. That man is marrying a decent and moneyed girl? Is it mad yous are? Is it in a crazy house for females that I'm landed now? Widow Quinn, it's mad yourself as with a blow upon your head. That lad is the wonder of the western world. I seen it's my son. You seen that you're mad. Cheering outside. Do you hear them cheering in the zigzags of the road? Aren't you after saying that your son's a fool? And how would he be cheering a true idiot born? Mahone, getting distressed. It's maybe out of reason that a man's himself. There's none surely will go cheering him. Oh, I'm raving with a madness that would fright the world. He sits down with his hands to his head. There was one time I seen 10 scarlet devils letting on they'd cork my spirit in a gallon can. And one time I seen rats as big as badgers sucking the lifeblood from the butt of my lug. But I never seen to this day confuse that dribbling idiot with a likely man. I'm destroyed, surely. Widow Quinn. And who'd wonder when it's your brain pan that is gaping now? Then the blight of the sacred draught upon myself and him. But I never went mad to this day, and I not 3 weeks with the Limerick girls drinking myself silly and paralytic from the dusk to dawn. To Widow Quinn, suddenly. Is my visage astray? Widow Quinn. It is then. You're a sniggering maniac a child could see. Mahone, getting up more cheerfully. Then I best be going to the Union beyond. And there will be a welcome before me, I tell you. With great pride. And I a terrible and fearful case, the way that I was one time screeching in a strained waistcoat with 7 doctors writing out my sayings in a printed book. Would you believe that? Widow Quinn. If you're a wonder itself, you'd best be hasty. For them lads caught a maniac one time and pelted the poor creature till he ran out raving and foaming and was drowned in the sea. Mahone, with philosophy. It's true mankind is the devil when your head's astray. Let me out now, and I'll slip down the boreen and not see them so. Widow Quinn, showing him out. That's it. Run to the right, and not a one will see. Philly, wisely. You're at some gaming, Widow Quinn. But I'll walk after him and give him his dinner and a time to rest. And I'll see then if he's a raven or as sane as you. Widow Quinn, annoyed. If you go near that lad, let you be wary of your head, I'm saying. Didn't you hear him telling he was crazed at times? I heard him telling a power, and I'm thinking we'll have a right sport before night will fall. He goes out. Jimmy. Well, Philly is a conceited and foolish man. How could that madman have his senses and his brain pan slit? I'll go after them and see him turn on Philly now. He goes. Widow Quinn hides Poteen behind counter, then hubbub outside. Voices. There you are. Good jumper, grand leper, darling boy. He's a racer. Bear him on, will you? Christy comes in jockey's dress, with Pegeen, Mike, Sarah, and other girls and men. Pegeen to crowd. Go on now and don't destroy him and he'd drench with sweat. Go along, I'm saying, and have your tug of warring till he's dried his skin. Crowd. Here's his prizes. A bagpipes. A fiddle was played by a poet in the years gone by. A flattened 3-thorn blackthorn would lick the scholars out of Dublin town. Christy, taking prizes from the men. Thank you kindly, the lot of you. But you'd say it was the only thing I did this day if you'd seen me a while since striking my one single blow. Town crier, outside ringing a bell. Take notice! Last event of this day! Tug of warring on the green below! Come on, the lot of you! Great achievements for all Mayo men! Go on, and leave him for to rest and dry. Go on now, I tell you, for it'll do no more. She hustles crowd out. Widow Quinn following them. Men going. Come on, then. Good luck for the while. Pegeen, radiantly wiping his face with her shawl. Well, you're the lad. And you'll have great times from this out when you could win that wealth of prizes and you sweating in the heat of noon. Christy, looking at her with delight. I'll have great times if I win the crowning prize I'm seeking now. And that's your promise that you'll wed me in a fortnight, when our banns is called. Pegeen, backing away from him. You've the right daring to go ask me that, when all knows you'll be starting to some girl in your own townland, when your father's rotting in 4 months or 5. Christy, indignantly. Starting from you, is it? He follows her. I will not then. And when the airs is warming in the 4 months or 5, it'll then be yourself and me should be pacing Neffin in the dews of night. The time sweet smells do be rising, and you'd see a little shiny new moon maybe sinking on the hills. Pegeen, looking at him playfully. And it's that kind of a poacher's love you'd make, Christy Mahone? On the sides of Neffin when the night is down? Christy. It's little you'll think if my love's a poacher's, or an earl's itself, when you'll feel my 2 hands stretched around you, and I squeezing kisses on your puckered lips till I'd feel a kind of pity for the Lord God as all ages sitting lonesome in his golden chair. Pegeen, that'd be right fun, Christy Mahon. And any girl would walk her heart out before she'd meet a young man was your like for eloquence or talk at all. Christy, encouraged. Let you wait to hear me talking till we're astray in Eris, when Good Friday's by, drinking a sup from a well and making mighty kisses with our wedded mouths, or gaming in a gap of sunshine with yourself stretched back onto your necklace in the flowers of the earth. Pegeen, in a lower voice, moved by his tone. It'd be nice, so, is it? Christy, with rapture. If the mitred bishops seen you that time, they'd be the like of the holy prophets, I'm thinking, do be straining the bars of paradise to lay eyes on the Lady Helen of Troy, and she abroad pacing back and forward with a nosegay in her golden shawl. Pegeen, with real tenderness. And what does it I have, Christy Mahon? To make me fit in entertainment for the like of you that is such poets talking, and such bravery of heart. Christy, in a low voice. Isn't there the light of 7 heavens in your heart alone? The way you'll be an angel's lamp to me from this out, and I abroad in the darkness spearing salmons in the Owen or the Caramar. If I was your wife, I'd be along with you those nights, Christy Mahon. The way you'd see I was a great hand at coaxing bailiffs, or coining funny nicknames for the stars of night. You, is it? Taking your death in the hailstorms of the fogs of dawn. Yourself and me would shelter easy in a narrow bush, with the qualm of dread. But we're only talking, maybe, for this would be a poor thatched place to hold a fine lad the like of you. Christy, putting his arms around her. If I wasn't a good Christian, it's on my naked knees I'd be saying my prayers and paters to every jackstraw you have roofing your head, and every stony pebble is paving the laneway to your door. Pegeen, radiantly. If that's the truth, I'll be burning candles from this out to the miracles of God have brought you from the south today. And I with my gowns bought ready the way I can wed you and not wait at all. Christy, it's miracles and that's the truth. Me there toiling a long while and walking a long while, not knowing at all I was drawing all times nearer to this holy day. And myself a girl was tempted often to go sailing the seas till I'd marry a Jew man with 10 kegs of gold, and I not knowing at all there was a like of you drawing nearer like the stars of God. And to think I'm long years hearing women talking that talk of bloody fools, and this the first time I've heard the like of your voice talking sweetly for my own delight. And to think it's me talking sweetly, Christy Mahon, and I the fright of 7 town lads for my biting tongue. Well, the heart's a wonder, and I'm thinking there won't be our like in Mayo for gallant lovers from this hour today. Drunken singing is heard outside. There's my father coming from the wake, and when he's had his sleep we'll tell him, for he's peaceful then. They separate.
The jailer and the turnkey, they quickly ran us down, and brought us back as prisoners once more to Cavan Town. There we lay bewailing, all in a prison bound.
He comes in supported by Sean, and sees Christy. He goes and shakes him drunkenly by the hand, while Pegeen and Sean talk on the left. Michael to Christy.
The blessing of God and the holy angels on your head, young feller. I heard tell you after winning all in the sports below. And wasn't it a shame I didn't bear you along with me to Kate Cassidy's wake? A fine, stout lad the like of you. Better you never seen the matches for it for floors of drinks the way when we sunk our bonds at noonday in the narrow grave. There were 5 men, aye, and 6 men stretched out retching speechless on the holy stones.
Christy, uneasily, watching Pegeen. Is that the truth?
It is, then. And aren't you a louty scheming to go burying your poor fathers unbeknownst, when you'd the right to throw him in the crumper of a carry mule and drive him westwards like holy Joseph in the days gone by? The way we could have given him a decent burial, not have him rotten beyond, and not a Christian drinking a smart drop to the glory of his soul.
Christy, gruffly. It's well enough he's lying for the likes of him. Michael, slapping him on the back.
Well, aren't you a hardened slayer? It'll be a poor thing for the household man when you go sniffing for a female wife. And,
pointing to Sean,
look beyond at that shy and decent Christian I have chosen for my daughter's hand. And I after getting the gilded dispensation this day for to wed them now.
Christy. And you'll be wedding them this day, is it? Michael, drawing himself up.
Aye. Are you thinking if I'm drunk itself I leave my daughter living single with a little frisky rascal as the like of you?
Begin, breaking away from Sean. Is it the truth the dispensations come? Michael, triumphantly.
Father Riley's after sending it in Gallus of Latin, and it's come the nick of time, says he. So I'll wed them in a hurry, dreading that young gaffer who capsized the stars.
Pegeen, fiercely. He's missed his nick of time, for it's that lad Christy Mahone that I'm wedding now. Michael, loudly, with horror.
You'd be making him a son to me, and he wet and crusted with his father's blood?
Aye, wouldn't it be a better thing for a girl to go on marrying the like of Shaneen, and he a middling kind of scarecrow with no savagery or fine words in him at all? Michael, gasping and sinking on a chair.
Oh, aren't you a heathen daughter to go shaking the fat of my heart, and I swamped and drowned with the weight of drink? Would you have them running on me the way I'd be roaring with the dawn of day with the wind upon my heart? Have you not a word to aid me, Shaneen? Are you not jealous at all?
Sean, in great misery. I'd be afeard to be jealous of the man did slay his da. Pegeen. Well, it'd be a poor thing to go marrying your like. I'm seeing there's a world of peril for an orphan girl, and isn't it a great blessing I didn't wed you before himself came walking from the west or south? Sean. It's a queer story you'd go picking up a dirty tramp up from the highways of the world. Pegeen, playfully. And you think you're a likely beau to go straying along with, the shiny Sundays of the opening year, when it's sooner on a bullock's liver you'd put a poor girl thinking than on the lily of the rose. Sean. And have you no mind of my weight of passion, and the holy dispensation, and the drift of heifers I'm giving, and the golden ring? Pegeen. I'm thinking you're too fine for the like of me, Sean Keogh of Killikeen. And let you go off till you'd find a radiant lady with droves of bullocks in the plains of Meath, and herself bedizened in the diamond jewelries of Pharaoh's ma. That'd be your match, Shaneen. So God save you now. She retreats behind Christy. Sean. Won't you hear me telling you? Christy, with ferocity. Take yourself from this, young fellow, or maybe I'll add a murder to my deeds today. Michael, springing up with a shriek.
Murder, is it? Is it mad yous are? Would you go making murder in the place and it piled with poteen for our drink tonight? Go on to the foreshore if it's fighting you want, or the rising tide will wash all traces from the memory of man.
Pushing Sean towards Christy. Sean, shaking himself free and getting behind Michael. I'll not fight him, Michael James. I'd liefer live a bachelor simmering in passions to the end of time than face a leaping savage the like of him is descended from the Lord knows where. Strike him yourself, Michael James, or you'll lose my drift of heifers and my blue bull from Sneem.
Is it me fighting him, when it's father slaying he's bred to now?
Pushing Sean.
Go on, you little fool, and fight him now.
Sean, coming forward a little. Will I strike him with my hand?
Take the lawyers on your western side.
I'd be afeard of the gallows if I struck with that. Christy, taking up the loy. Then I'll make you face the gallows, or quit off from this. Sean flies out the door. Well, fine weather be after him. Going to Michael, coaxingly. And I'm thinking you wouldn't wish to have that quaking blackguard in your house at all. Let ye give us your blessing, and hear her swear her fate to me. For I'm mounted on the spring tide of the stars of luck the way it'll be good for any to have me in the house. Pegeen, at the other side of Michael. Bless us now, for I swear to God I'll wed him, and I'll not renege.
It's the will of God, I'm thinking, that all should win an easy or a cruel end. And it's the will of God that all should rear up lengthy families for the nurture of the earth. What's a single man, I ask you, eating a bit in one house and drinking a sup in another? And he with no place of his own, like an old braying jackass straight upon the rocks.
To Christy.
It's many would be in dread to bring your like into their house, for to end them maybe with a sudden end, but I'm a decent man of Ireland, and I'll liefer face the grave untimely, and I seen a score of grandsons growing up a little gallant swearers by the grace of God, than go people in my bedside with puny weeds the like of that you'd breed I'm taking out of Shaneen Keogh.
He joins their hands.
A daring fellow is the jewel of the world, and a man did split his father's middle with a single clout should have a bravery of 10. So may God and Mary and Saint Patrick bless you, and increase you from this mortal day.
Christy and Pegeen. Amen, O Lord. Hubbub outside. Old man rushes in, followed by all the crowd and Widow Quinn. He makes a rush at Christy, knocks him down, and begins to beat him. Pegeen, dragging back his arm. Stop that, will you? Who are you at all? Mahone.
His father, God forgive me.
Pegeen, drawing back. Is it rose from the dead? Mahone.
Do you think I look so easy quenched with the tap of a loy?
Beats Christy again. Pegeen, glaring at Christy. And it's lies you told. Letting on you had him slitted, and knew nothing at all. Christy, catching Mahone's stick. He's not my father. He's a raving maniac would scare the world. Pointing to Widow Quinn. Herself knows it is true. Crowd. You're fooling Pegeen? The Widow Quinn's seen him this day, and you likely knew. You're a liar! Christy, dumbfounded. It's himself was a liar. Lying stretched up with an open head on him, letting on he was dead. Mahone.
Weren't you off racing the hills before I got my breath with the start I had turning you on me at all?
Pegeen. And to think of the coaxing glory we had given him. And he after doing nothing but hitting a soft blow and chasing northward in a sweat of fear. Quit off from this. Christy, piteously. You've seen my doings this day, and that you save me from the old man, for why would you be in such a scorch of haste to spur me to destruction now? Pegeen. It's there your treachery is spurring me. Till I'm hard set to think you're the one I'm after lacing my heartstrings half an hour gone by. To Mahone. Take him on from this. For I think bad the world should see me raging for a monster liar and the fool of men. Mahone.
Rise up now to retribution, and come on with me.
Crowd, jeeringly. There's the playboy. There's the lad thought he'd rule the roost of Mayo. Slate him now, mister. Christy, getting up in shy terror. What does it drives you to torment me here? When I asked the thunders of the might of God to blast me if I ever did hurt to any saving only that one single blow. Mahone, loudly.
If you didn't, you're a poor good for nothing. And isn't it by the like of you the sins of the whole world are committed?
Christy, raising his hands. In the name of Almighty God,
leave troubling the Lord God. Would you have him sending down draughts and the old hen in the cholera morbis?
Christy, to Widow Quinn. Will you come between us and protect me now? Widow Quinn. I've tried a lot, God help me. And my share is done. Christy, looking round in desperation. And I must go back into my torment, is it? Or run off like a vagabond straying the unions and the dusts of August making mud stains in the gullet of my throat? Or the winds of March blowing on me till I'd make an oath and I felt them making whistles of my ribs within? Sarah, ask Pegeen to aid you. Her like does often change. Christy, I will not then. For there's torment in the splendour of her like, and she a girl any moon of midnight would take pride to meet, facing southwards on the heaths of Kiel. But what did I want crawling forward to scorch my understanding at her flaming brow? Pegeen, to Mahone, vehemently, fearing she will break into tears. Take him on from this, or I'll send the young lad to destroy him here. Mahone, going to him, shaking his stick.
Come on now if you wouldn't have the company to see you scalped.
Pegeen, half laughing through her tears. That's it. Now the world will see him bandied, and he an ugly liar was playing off the hero in the fright of men. Christy, to Mahone, very sharply. Leave me go! Crowd. That's it! Now, Christy! It's the two of them set fighting. It will lick the world. Mahone, making a grab at Christy.
Come here to me.
Christy, more threateningly. Leave me go, I'm saying.
I will, maybe, when your leg is limping and your back is blue.
I'll back the old one. Now the playboy. Christy, in low and intense voice. Shut your yelling. For if you're after making a mighty man of me this day by the power of a lie, you're setting me now to think if it's a poor thing to be lonesome, it's worse maybe go mixing with the fools of the earth. Mahone makes a movement towards him. Christy, almost shouting. Keep off! Lest I do show a blow unto the lot of you would set the guardian angels winking in the clouds above. He swings round with a sudden rapid movement and picks up a loy. Crowd, half frightened, half amused. He's going mad! Mind yourselves! Run from the idiot! Christy, if I am an idiot, I'm after hearing my voice this day saying words would raise the top knot of a poet in a merchant's town. I've won your racing and your lepping, and
shut your gullet and come on with me.
I'm going, but I'll stretch you first. He runs at old Mahone with the loy, chases him out the door, followed by the crowd and Widow Quinn. There is a great noise outside, then a yell, and dead silence for a moment. Christy comes in, half dazed, and goes to fire. Widow Quinn, coming in and going to him. They're turning against you. Come on, or you'll be hanged indeed. Christy. I'm thinking from this out, Pegeen will be giving me praises the same as in the hours gone by. Widow Quinn, impatiently. Come by the back door. I think it bad to have you stifled on the gallows tree. Christy, indignantly. I will not then. What good be my lifetime if I left Pegeen? Widow Quinn. Come on and you'll be no worse than you were last night. And you with a double murder this time to be telling to the girls. Christy. I'll not leave Pegeen, Mike. Widow Quinn, impatiently. Isn't there the match of her in every parish public from Bingham Town until the plains of Meath? Come on, I tell you, and I'll find you finer sweethearts at each waning moon. Christy. It's Pegeen I'm seeking only. And what I care if you brought me a drift of chosen females standing in their shifts itself maybe, from this place to the eastern world. Sarah runs in, pulling off one of her petticoats. They're going to hang him, holding out petticoat and shawl. Fit these upon him, and let him run off to the east. Widow Quinn. He's raving now, but we'll fit them on him, and I'll take him in the ferry to the Achill boat. Christy, struggling feebly. Leave me go, will you, when I'm thinking of my luck today, for she will wed me surely, and I a proven hero in the end of all. They try to fashion petticoat around him. Widow Quinn. Take his left hand, and we'll pull him now. Come on, young fellow. Christy, suddenly starting up. You'll be taking me from her. You're jealous, is it, of her wedding me? Go on from this. He snatches up a stool and threatens them with it. Widow Quinn, going. It's in the madhouse they should put him, not in jail at all. We'll go by the back door to call the doctor and we'll save him so. She goes out with Sarah, through inner room. Men crowd in the doorway. Christy sits down again by the fire. Michael, in a terrified whisper. Is the old lad killed surely? Philly. I'm after feeling the last gaps quitting his heart. They peer in at Christy. Michael, with a rope. Twist a hangman's knot on it and slip it over his head while he's not minding at all. Philly. Let you take a Shaneen. You're the soberest of all that's here. Sean. Is it me go near him? And he the wickedest and worst with me? Let you take it, Pegeen, Mike. Pegeen. Come on, so. She goes forward with the others, and they drop the double hitch over his head. Christy. What ails you? Sean, triumphantly, as they pull the rope tight on his arms. Come to the peelers till they stretch you now. Christy. Me? Michael. If we took pity on you, the Lord God would maybe bring us ruin from the law today. So you'd best come easy, for hanging is the easy and speedy end. Christy. I'll not stir. To Pegeen. And what is it you'll say to me? And I after doing this time in the face of all? Pegeen. I'll say you are a strange man as a marvel with his mighty talk. But what's a squabble in your backyard and the blow of a loy have taught me that there's a great gap between a gallant story and a dirty deed. To men. Take him off from this, or the lot of us will be likely put on trial for his deed today. Christy, with horror in his voice. And as yourself will send me off to have a horny-figured hangman hitching his bloody slip knots at the butt of my ear? He's pulled down to the floor. Christy, twisting his legs round the table. Cut the rope, Pegeen, and I'll quit the lot of you and live from this out like the madmen of Kiel, eating muck and green weeds on the faces of the cliffs. Pegeen. And leave us to hang, is it? For a saucy liar the like of you? To men. Take him on out from this. Men. Pull a twist on his neck and squeeze him so. Philly. Twist yourself. Sure he cannot hurt you if you keep your distance from his teeth alone. Sean. I'm afeard of him. To Pegeen. Lift a lighted saw with you, and scorch his leg. Pegeen, blowing the fire with a bellows. Leave go now, young fellow, or I'll scorch your shins. Christy. You're blowing for to torture me? His voice rising and growing stronger. That's your kind, is it? Then let the lot of you be wary, for if I've to face the gallows, I've a gay march down, I tell you, and shed the blood of some of you before I die. Sean, in terror. Keep a good hold, Philly. Be wary for the love of God, for I'm thinking he will leave for strike his pains on me. Christy, almost gaily. If I do lay my hands on you, it's the way you'll be at the fall of night hanging as a scarecrow for the fowls of hell. And you'll have a gallus jaunt, I'm saying, coaching out through limbo with my father's ghost. Sean, to Pegeen. Make haste, will you? Oh, isn't he a holy terror? And isn't it true for Father Riley that all drink's a curse that has the lot of you so shaky and uncertain now? Christy. If you can wring a neck among you, I'll have a royal judgment looking on the trembling jury in the courts of law. And won't there be crying out in Mayo the day I'm stretched upon the rope with ladies in their silks and satins snivelling in their lacy kerchiefs, and they rhyme in songs and ballads on the terror of my fate. He squirms round on the floor and bites Sean's leg. My leg's bit on me! He's the like of a mad dog. I'm thinking the way I will surely die. Christy, delighted with himself. You will, then, the way you can shake out hell's flags of welcome for my coming in 2 weeks or 3. But I'm thinking Satan hasn't many have killed that da and Carrie and Mayo too. Old Mahone comes in behind on all fours and looks on unnoticed. Men, to Pegeen. Bring the sod, will you? Pegeen, coming over. God help him so. Burns his legs. Christy, kicking and screaming. Oh, glory be to God! He kicks loose from the table, and they all drag him towards the door. Jimmy, seeing old Mahone. Will you look what's come in? They all drop Christy and run left. Christy, scrambling to his knees, face to face with old Mahone. Are you coming to be killed a third time, or what ails you now? Mahone. For what is it they have you tied? Christy. They're taking me to the peelers to have me hanged for slaying you. Michael, apologetically. It is the will of God that all should guard their little cabins from the treachery of law. And what would my daughter be doing if I was ruined or hanged itself? Mahone, grimly, loosening Christy. It's little I care if you put a bag on her back and went picking cockles till the hours of death. But my son and myself will be going our own way. And we'll have great times from this out telling stories of the villainy of Mayo and the fools is here. To Christy, who is freed. Come on now. Christy. Go with you, is it? I will, then. Like a gallant captain with his heathen slave. Go on now, and I'll see you from this day stewing my oatmeal and washing my spuds, for I'm master of all fights from now. Pushing Mahone. Go on, I'm saying. Mahone. Is it me? Christy. Not a word out of you. Go on from this. Mahone, walking out and looking back at Christy over his shoulder. Glory be to God! With a broad smile. I am crazy again! Goes. Christy. 10,000 blessings upon all that's here. For you've turned me a likely gaffer in the end of all, the way I'll go romancing through a romping lifetime from this hour to the dawning of the judgment day. He goes out. Michael. By the will of God, we'll have peace now for our drinks. Will you draw the porter, Pegeen? Sean, going up to her. It's a miracle Father Riley can wed us in the end at all. And we'll have none to trouble us when his vicious bite is healed. Pegeen, hitting him a box on the ear. Quit my sight! Putting her shawl over her head and breaking out into wild lamentations. Oh, my grief, I've lost him surely! I've lost the only playboy of the Western world! Curtain. And that is the end of J.M. Synge's Playboy of the Western World, a comedy in 3 acts. Quite a fanciful romp and a bit more words than I'm used to, but still fun nonetheless. I'm sorry if there were any discrepancies in the audio in this version. I must have spoken above the mic rather than into it at some points, so I will definitely try and make sure that that doesn't happen from now on, but seeing as I already did all the work, I might as well just roll with this one. So thank you for rolling along with me. Anyway, you know the spiel at this point. Feel like subscribing, financing, whatever sort of your particular social media uses. I'm also up on Spotify. I'm also up on Patreon. Yeah, and just share this with your friends. Share this with people that you want to, laugh with, because I am hysterical. Totally. Anyway, I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. And I hope to have you back in Brendan Moyer's Playwright Corner. Thank you.